Here we go. It's Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Oh, if I can get this to work. We got there we go. We got no audio. Well, that's a rough start to the morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. What's going on? It's the blockchain backer. Let's see if I can figure out how to run there we go. How about that? Intro. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the cryptocurrency market, stock market, metals, whatever it is we want to look at for the day to see what is interesting going on as the markets get set to open. Stock market opens in 3 minutes. Probably the most boring day we've seen in crypto, the most boring day we've seen in stocks. And it's weird on such a boring day that we hit 1,000 viewers in the first minute. It's weird. Oh, it's email release day. That's right. We've got a lot going on out there in markets right now. We've seen, where do we even begin here? Okay, so first things first, obviously, the emails have been released this morning. Second thing is today is CPI day, Consumer Price Index Day, which we did beat. And then tomorrow is FOMC, or the Federal Reserve interest rate hike decision. And for sure, everybody wants to talk about XRP. We're going to definitely spend the vast majority of this live stream pretty much having the XRP price chart on the screen. That's going to be the major discussion going on. And then kind of reviewing anything that we can in pertaining to the emails. I'm not a legal guy, so I'm going to lean on the community to kind of share that kind of stuff. But I'll try to show stuff on the screen that we can in regards to the emails. I don't think anything tremendously surprising out there. But I think now it's for the masses to be able to see all of the stuff that's going on. Let's go ahead and let's just dive right in, right? I guess we'll start with XRP, right? So XRP, emails come out this morning. So first of all, Bitcoin, okay, we'll just cover it real fast. Bitcoin, you're chilling. Cool, that's great. XRP, emails come out this morning. What do we see? We see an immediate price, boom, right through the last retracement. What do we see pulling back? Right back below them immediately, right? So for anybody who does or does not know how to, everybody's going to have their own strategy, right? My strategy on retracements is, if I sell the retracement, typically this is my behavior. I'll show you guys. You know me. It's 702 for me. Stop is above 786, targeting back down to the lows. If the 702 gets cracked, if the 786 gets cracked back through, suddenly I become long. And then my stop gets hit, and I'm back to being long, targeting all the way out to 4.236 of the particular range that we're in, with a stop now below the fib down here. So, washing machine happening in here. We've got a break, but this is about an 18-to-1 risk to reward ratio now that we have poked above that 786. Here's an example. Where are we? Let's see if I can find it. I had you up a minute ago. There we go. This is what we did back in 2020. For those who were around, we had something very similar to this occur. It's a very similar situation to what we've had going on right now, in which we held that support on top of that 200-day moving average, got back into that retrace, struggled at the retrace eventually to get a breakout. There was quite a bit of struggling that took place in there. Oh, we're on the wrong one. Go back. There we go. But eventually worked its way out. So at this point, we've now had a pullback. Are we in something like this that just happened? Are we in here? But we definitely didn't continue further higher. But if you FOMO'd in on a breakout trade, this is the trade here. This is the way I treat these trades. Otherwise, by doing that, signals some optimism of a continued move up closer to $1. Again, that fails should it drop below 51.5 cents. Immediate pop You know, the thing is, this pop obviously happens right here on the email release. And then we stall. I'm curious if it's hard to say, is there really any substance in the emails? I think the first thing we should do is we should play Stuart Eldorady's video. Let's go ahead and get that up really quick so we can understand what Stuart Eldoraddy has to say. Oh, geez, his thread got really long. Okay, we'll go through that too. First things first. Turn the volume on. Here we go. Here's Stuart Eldoraddy. He's the lead counsel, the lawyer for Ripple. Here we go.
On June 14th, 2018, then SEC Director of Corporation Finance William Hinman gave a high-profile speech where he declared that a token is not a security when it becomes, quote, sufficiently decentralized. But internal emails and documents show that senior SEC officials repeatedly warned Hinman that his speech wasn't true to the law and would greatly confuse the markets even more than they already were. Now, after more than 2 years and 7 court orders, we can finally share some of what we found in the Hinman speech documents. The SEC head of trading and markets warned Hinman that he was making up factors that, quote, go beyond the typical Howey analysis, as in not in the law, and that the speech could lead to not just confusion, but greater confusion on what is a security. Hinman ignored him.
If the network on which the token or coin is to function is sufficiently decentralized, and the purchasers no longer have a reasonable expectation that a person or a group is going to carry out essential managerial or entrepreneurial efforts, those assets might not represent an investment contract.
The same official told Hinman he should tie his speech, quote, more closely and explicitly to the Howey analysis. Hinman not only ignored him, but deliberately created factors beyond those identified by the Supreme Court in the Howey case.
I wanted to just note a few things. This list is not meant to be exhaustive, but these are things that we look at.
The SEC's own general counsel warned specifically that it's legally irrelevant if someone retains a stake in a token and is motivated to take action to increase its value, and that Hinman should delete it from the speech. And once again, Hinman ignored them and said without any legal support that it was important to ask.
Has that person or group retained a stake or other interest in the digital asset such that it would be motivated to expend efforts to cause an increase in the value of the digital asset?
Both Trading and Markets and the General Counsel also disagreed with Hinman's belief that if a network was sufficiently decentralized, information asymmetries would no longer exist, noting that a network creator would likely have more information than a retail holder, using Vitalik Buterin as an example. They warned Hinman that by creating this, quote, other category and focusing on information asymmetries, he was exposing a regulatory gap that the SEC may not have the jurisdiction to fill. Again, Hinman ignored them.
As the network becomes more truly decentralized, the ability to even to identify a promoter or to make the requisite, and someone that could actually make the requisite disclosures becomes in many cases difficult or and perhaps much less meaningful.
On June 4th, Hinman wrote that he didn't see a, quote, need to regulate Ether as a security, and set up a call with Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin later that week to, quote, confirm our understanding. On June 11th, the SEC's own general counsel advised against including any direct statement about Ether in the speech because it would be difficult for the SEC to, quote, take a different position on Ether in the future. The next day, Trading and Markets wrote that the statements about Ether were, quote, likely to create more confusion. Hinman ignored all of them and decided to make headlines, picking winners and losers instead.
Moreover, putting aside the fundraising that accompanied the creation of Ether, based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network, its decentralized structure, we believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The emails show that Hinman knew he wasn't following the law. He knew he was making things up, and he knew that his speech would result in greater confusion in an already confused market. But Hinman went ahead with the speech anyway, and the SEC, despite knowing all this, touted the speech repeatedly. The SEC chairman himself pointed market participants to the speech.
Bill Hinman recently outlined the approach we take to evaluate whether a digital asset is a security And I encourage you to take a look at Bill's speech, which is available on our website.
The SEC knew the speech didn't follow the law. The SEC knew the speech would create greater confusion. And the SEC knew Hinman was making things up. So why is the Hinman speech still on the SEC's website? Why was it ever allowed to be given at all? And why has the SEC pushed a policy of regulation by enforcement, falsely insisting the rules are clear?
There we go. And that is Stuart Alderadi's video that he posted this morning. So let's go through what he has to say here really quick. He says we now can all see Hinman ignored multiple warnings that his speech contained made-up analysis with no basis in law, was divorced from the Howey factors, and exposed regulatory gaps, and would create not just confusion, but greater confusion in the market. A refresher is that Hinman, as head of the CEE's corporate finance, gave a speech in June 2018 declaring that a token is not a security once it becomes sufficiently decentralized, and he invented factors to consider when making a sufficiently decentralized determination. Although Hinman claimed that the speech was his personal view, he and the SEC touted it as guidance. Then SEC Chair Jay Clayton publicly pointed to it. Despite the SEC repeatedly flip-flopping on the significance of the speech in litigation, it remains on the agency's website. Now let's look at what senior SEC officials directly said to Hinman about his speech as he was drafting it. Head of Trading and Markets said, because the list of factors is so extensive and appears to include things that go beyond the typical Howey analysis, we have concerns this might lead to greater confusion on what is a security. Hinman ignored these concerns. Trading and Markets directly asked Hinman to tie his newly invented factors more closely and explicitly to the Howey analysis. Again, Hinman ignored the suggestion. Office of General Counsel and Trading and Markets called the factor legally irrelevant. Had this person or group retained a stake or other interest in the digital asset such it would be motivated to expend efforts to cause an increase in value in the digital asset? Hinman kept it. Trading and Markets and OGC noted Hinman skipped over the threshold jurisdictional question of whether a digital asset meets the legal standards of a security. He jumped to asking whether SEC oversight could, in Hinman's view, be beneficial. Hinman ignored this regulatory gap. On June 4th, Hinman wrote that he didn't see a need to regulate Ethereum as a security and would call Vitalik Buterin later that week to confirm our understanding. On June 12th, OGC expressed its reservations about including a statement directly with Ether in the speech because it would make it difficult for the agency to take a different position on Ethereum in the future. ETH remained as a cited example. So, what should happen now? First, remove the speech immediately from the SEC's website. An investigation must be conducted to understand what or who influenced Hinman, why conflicts, or at the very least, appearances of conflicts were ignored, and why the SEC touted the speech knowing that it would create greater confusion. And finally, Hinman's speech should never again be invoked in any serious discussion about whether a token is or is not a security. Unelected bureaucrats must faithfully apply the law within the constraints of their jurisdiction. They can't, as Hinman tried, to create new law. So pretty much I would say this is painting the picture that Bill Hinman, director of corporate finance, who gave this speech declaring that Ethereum is not a security, went against what people were telling him at the SEC. He went rogue. He did his own thing to declare Ethereum not a security. And after the damage was done, the SEC never attempted to backtrack on it. Instead, they kind of dug their heels in, and Jay Clayton continued to point to it as guidance for the market, right? I think that's kind of what we see happening here. I think one of the bigger things about Ethgate, that it does appear Ethereum Gate is the deal, is that with Fred Rispoli says, well, after looking at the unredacted Ripple opposition to SEC MSJ and Rule 56.1, it's discussing how the SEC operated, discussing how it let Hinman get away with that speech, and discussing how SEC purposely made it official behind the scenes policy to deliberately sow market confusion. And it's very clear that, yes, hands down, no more guessing, totally for reals. Ethgate actually happened. I can't see any way the SEC wins its MSJ, and I think you will find it extremely obvious why both judges in this case ordered these documents be produced. Don't worry about reading it yet. Fileland Law will be up in a few hours to post everything. The money shot in Ripple 56.1 in opposition to the SEC's MSJ. So not only did all that happen, but he was in contact with Vitalik Buterin. And if you remember, Mike Novogratz came out like a week before Ethereum was declared not a security. You guys remember that? That's been talked about a lot. How did Mike Novogratz know? Because Bill Hinman spoke with Vitalik Buterin shortly before doing the speech. So it's one thing for there to be corruption and all that stuff, and what were the reasons why Bill Hinman did this against the SEC's employees and guidance that was happening there. The bigger question is, why then did Jay Clayton, head of the SEC, point to it and say, there's your guidance, right? When lots of different people are saying, this isn't good. This isn't good. He went with it anyway. And then after the damage was done, Jay Clayton pointed to the speech, and the SEC has left the speech on their website to sow market confusion. And in behind closed doors, they were all saying this thing's not good, but they never took it down. They left it up the whole time. So, there will probably be other juice that gets spilled from this, other stuff that happens from this. But again, it just gets us talking. It's good tea. It's good gossip, right? We still need to see that summary judgment come out. And that's the big thing we're all really waiting for. So we got a quick little pump there on XRP. Markets are green today. So there's other news going on in the market today. Again, for a breakout of a 786, it's a failure should it go back down below the 618. So if we go back down below 51.8 cents, is technically kind of in failure territory, but to pull back down in here is not unusual. That's what we saw happen in here several times in this area. So we'll see if we can continue that breakout to happen in there. Even this big breakout looks absolutely amazing. Just to get from here to here, this took 10 hours, right? In this massive breakout for XRP. This is a whole 10-hour period. We're like 1.5 hours into what has happened with XRP. We'll see if it continues to go up and if it was more than just like a short squeeze happening there. Most of the selling volume, which I always find weird, and I'm not a huge fan of it when I see it because I know how intermingled Ripple is with Bitstamp. Most of the selling volume came from Bitstamp. So it was released today as well that Brad Garlinghouse has sold between 2017 and 2020. He sold, right? So there's going to be bad stuff in here too, right? To acknowledge it. He sold $155 million worth of XRP between 2017 and 2020. Now, if you need to do the math on that, that's $50 million a year. Or if we divide it by 4 years, what does that end up coming out to? 38 million a year. Just so you know, that's more than Jamie Dimon makes with his salary and his bonuses. So if Brad Garlinghouse has earned himself higher paying than the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, with what Ripple's current accomplishments are, okay. But that is higher than Jamie Dimon with how much Brad sold on the market. And a bulk of it always Ripple seems to really love using Bitstamp. So we saw the biggest selling volume also coming here on Bitstamp currently with this pullback. So there will be stuff in there too like that, guys. So kind of prepare. It's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows and yelling at Bill Hinman. We're going to see the dirt on Ripple too. In the end, the thing that we all care about is who cares. Like I get it. It makes good good story and gossip to talk about Bill Hinman, but we need that summary judgment. The question is, did the information that we see today give us a better shot at summary judgment, right? Was it clear? The accusations are against Ripple are saying that they recklessly treated as XRP as a security when the market guidance was very clear. Do you think, with what we saw today and the way the SEC behaved and the guidance they provided to the market to that point, was Ripple behaving recklessly based on the way the SEC was communicating? I don't think so. I don't think they were behaving recklessly. Mr. Nobody says, I don't know if the Hinman emails are as bad as I expected them to be. Right. I mean, they're just going to be kind of gossip, right? The question is, does the behavior influence the judge's opinion, right? So this is really just getting us a view into what is the judge thinking, right? So it doesn't change the court case. It doesn't change the decision of summary judgment. It doesn't change anything except makes a lot of YouTube videos and information that we probably already knew. I think the thing that I don't think it's anything new. It just confirms it. And the fact is, Bill Hinman was speaking with Vitalik Buterin already. So he had already kind of came up with this decision. And then he started speaking with Vitalik Buterin to say, hey, what do you think? We're thinking about declaring you not a security and giving you a free pass. What do you think? You like it? Everybody at the SEC staff says, no, don't do it. Hey, Vitalik, what do you think? Sure. Okay, let's go with it. And then Jay Clayton points to it as guidance for the market. So that's the problems you have there. All right, so we'll see if XRP can sustain a breakout or if it's just a FOMO news event happening in here. For a breakout of a 786, really, for my rules, has to hold the 618. Otherwise, waddling in here is just fine. This was a really optimistic sign, so long as it wasn't just a short squeeze on news events. And then if you go back down below 618, my gosh, we'll add so much complication to all this, it won't even be funny. So the best thing we can do is just hold here. All right. Bigger news, right? So let's look over at the stock market. The stock market is crushing it this morning. And this is important. If you tune in for XRP, just hold on. This is important. Stock market ripping. You got the Dow up 214 points. You got the S&P up 24 points. You got the NASDAQ up 64 points. So the market's up about 0.5% this morning, coming off of big news. And we're about to show you a stat. It's going to be like, holy cow. Okay, here we go. Not necessarily this stat, but we can see CPI came out today. So we got year over year, and we also got month over month. And we've been talking about this for some time. Today, we end up getting a month over month reading of 0.1%. The forecast was 0.2%. However, we were knocking out this 1% from this reading back here in June. So what does it do? It takes the year over year and adds a much bigger drop to it. So now we went from 4.9 down to 4%. Forecast was 4.1%. Now, next month, when we get our next CPI reading, we're going to be knocking out this 1.3%. That means, if we get a reading like this next month, do you know what that means? If we get a reading of 0.1% next month, or even if we get 0.2% next month, do you know what that means? That means this will have a 2 on the front of it. If we get a reading of 0.1% next month, like we did this month, our year-over-year inflation would be 2.8%. If we get a 0.2 reading, our year-over-year inflation will be 2.9%. So we're one reading away from potentially seeing a 2 on the front side of this. So what does the market have it priced at of what the Fed is going to do tomorrow in regards to interest rate hikes? We talked about this yesterday. We needed to get through that CPI. We've been hovering at 75% probability of a pause for a long time, pretty much like 3 weeks. Boom. 94% chance now that the Fed has paused the hiking cycle. The Fed has yet to go against what the market has priced in and what the market anticipates. The Fed has gone with market participants. And we don't see the Fed coming out and all the time we'll have Fed speakers come out and be like, hey, we're going to do rate hikes. We're going to do rate hikes. Don't be fooled. Don't be thinking this market, you're pricing it wrong. They're not coming out to do that this time around. Market has it priced in. Fed is pausing tomorrow. And so we'll be live streaming during that tomorrow when we have our Fed FOMC. So tomorrow's a very busy day for me. We have markets in the morning, YouTube video. I have an interview on another YouTube channel, and then we'll have a live stream tomorrow as well. So big day tomorrow. XRP, you going to get it? You going to go? What are you going to do? Most of the market is green this morning off this news, but this is the big one for the stock market. So the DXY took a little bit of a spill here. It looks like it's starting to get into a breakdown here for the DXY, which we've been watching for days. We've been watching this thing roll over. We saw the indicator showing it. Daily time frame, MACD, everything rolling over just as it did last time. This is kind of the big one. Where does it settle? Does it settle in the 99s or 100, or does it keep breaking down? We've got a lot of people tuning in. Probably a lot of people don't tune into markets in the morning all the time. But what we're looking for is to see how the crypto market responds in this area. When we had the DXY fall last time, there was nothing going on with the cryptocurrency market really until this point. This is November of 2020. If you remember, that's when Bitcoin finally started taking its ride up to the all-time high, and the all-time high break of Bitcoin happened right here on December 16th or so, right here. So it took the DXY falling all the way down to the low for Bitcoin finally to get a breakout and for crypto to go absolutely ham. And that whole ham time period really lasted all throughout here, just at the bottom. So this was what was different about the DXY last time. So we've done wave counts on this as the anticipation of the area to head to, and the big question on how crypto will react when the DXY gets down into this area down in here. But otherwise, we've got big moves over here in the stock market. Let's look at the Dow because that's the futures, right? So Dow heading back to that 702 retracement. NASDAQ pokes right at the 702 this morning. So here we go. It is official. The indexes are reaching the 702 retracement. The thing thought never possible in October that we can't go there until the Fed pauses. Don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the Fed. Baloney. We can go back to retracements and look what's happening. Where is the NASDAQ? What's happening tomorrow? The Fed is going to pause as we get back. So this is the interesting thing about it, is what we always talked about, is that that's what would happen. I challenge anybody to dig through the hundreds of videos that are done, but I guarantee it in at least one video, likely multiples. It was said that we'll go back to the retracement levels and the Fed will pivot at the retracement levels, is what we said. And that, you're talking about going back 6 months and having hundreds of videos to watch to find that one sound bit. But guaranteed, it has been said on this channel, we would get back to the retracement levels and then the Fed would pivot and then retail will FOMO buy at the retracement level. So big moment here. Will this be the ultimate wrong footing in the stock market, or will this be the juice the stock market needs to be able to get through? As we can see now that we have NASDAQ back at 702, we also have Dow Jones, of course, battling that same spot. What was interesting about the Dow and the stock market holding up so well is that, we talked about it, going sideways for a year, potentially years. I don't think years, but here we are at 8 months, going sideways, still fighting it. But truth be told, this is a pretty good structure we have in here. I don't want to get too optimistic that this thing will break out, because I'm a proponent believer that this is one of the things that crypto needs to get going. But this setup that we have in here, of an ABC correction happening in here, and then still that strength, it's looking pretty optimistic that it's going to give it a pretty good shot. So we'll see how that goes. But as for XRP, the thing everybody's watching today, are these Bill Hinman emails nothing more than, for us at least, a nothing burger? We'll find out. So I think we kind of got what we expected. We get some gossip to chat about. The question is, are you shocked? Right? I think that's the thing. I think we were kind of, let me ask you this. Let me run a poll here real quick. We're going to run a poll. I've only done this a couple of times. Start a poll. Are you shocked by the Hinman emails? Yes. Unbelievable. No. In line with expectations. All right. Let's go ahead and ask that. So, are you shocked by the Hinman emails? Yes. Unbelievable. No. In line with expectations. Here you go, guys. What do you guys think? We'll see what people think. Okay, so we're at 395 votes, and the initial response is 91% no, it's in line with expectations, right? 440 votes, 90% says no, in line with expectations. Right. So I think, right, if you look back on what Brad Garlinghouse has said in regards to those emails, and I showed it in a video yesterday, right? Brad's description of what the emails would look like is that it would be like shocking. It'd be unbelievable. It would be, unreal. It's kind of how it felt, right? And I don't think that's what was delivered in here. I think, it more so just affirmed what people already assumed, and there was no real, super new information. I would think only the real new information that came out of that was that Bill Hinman was kind of getting advised that he shouldn't have been doing it that way, and that he went forward with it anyway. I think that's really the only shocking thing, and if that's even considered shocking, we're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. At least there's a couple of people at the SEC who are kind of like, this is probably not good. It's not just complete scumbags there, right? There's some decent people there, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, right now we're at 700 votes. So we just crossed 700 votes. We're at 88% that say no, it was just in line with my expectations, and only 12% say yes, it's unbelievable. So I think that's a pretty good take on what people thought of the emails. So is there anything shocking or surprising in regards to it that, was there new information, right? Sometimes a market will misprice itself because there's information that it doesn't have. So did the market learn any new information that changed it? No. I think that the big information that'll change is going to be summary judgment. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. We're at 780 votes. Still, we're at 88%. So there you go. We'll get to 800 votes in just that. And there's 803 votes. 88% said no, these emails were just in line with my expectations. Poll ended. So there you go. Big break for XRP, but still just kind of holding right in there. I think the bigger thing happening in the other markets is that tomorrow we're likely going to see the Federal Reserve pause its interest rate hike cycle, and that's just a whirlwind of stuff. So, and then we've got it's so much news. It's hard to even wrap my head around what's so important today, right? I know Coinbase has something going on where the SEC has to reply to them. I know Trump's got some arraignment or something today. It is probably one of the biggest news-filled days ever, at least in 2023, is today. Then tomorrow is the big day. It is the day of the pause by the Fed. So if you want to call that a pivot, you can call it a pivot. You can call it whatever you want. That's expected to happen tomorrow. And then, yeah, all right. So simple stuff of what we typically do here for Markets in the Morning. We take a look at the market action. If you've been following on Twitter or on YouTube videos, obviously you've seen it. We've been holding here. XRP attempting a breakout on the email releases. So far, questionable. Most of the selling volume's happening at Bitstamp. I don't want to speculate on too much on what that is, but it is over here on Bitstamp. Brad's total XRP sales were released. Brad sold $155 million worth of XRP over the course of 2017 to 2020. If you need the math done for you on that, it's about $38 million a year. That is higher than Jamie Dimon's salary plus bonuses. I've seen people post on Twitter, congratulations to Brad for being paid. What a good CEO. Okay. Higher than JP Morgan. if you think that, okay. Yeah, if you guys remember, so I've taken a stance on that. I don't know if $155 million is appropriate, especially with how much the XRP community dragged Charlie Lee over the coals for selling his Litecoin. There seems to be a double standard on that. I think it's okay to be like, $155 million is a little excessive. I think it's okay to feel that way. I'm not going to take that back. I still feel that way to this day. I felt that way since day one. I ask myself, how motivated would I, the blockchain backer, be to do my work if I had 155 mil? I'd be chilling. I'd be chilling with 155. So, all right. We'll see if we can hold in here. We'll kind of keep ourselves over here to see if it still continues to. It's starting to form small bullish divergences happening here on the small time frame, right? So we pretty much have just like a FOMO jump above the retrace levels, pulls back down. We can see the first bullish divergence emerging there on the relative strength index. We see the stochastic RSI pointing back to the upside. So looks like that pull down, that sell that just took place here after the initial FOMO. We probably throughout the length of this stream, we're just watching. These are 5-minute candles, right? We'll see if we can see it turn back up. But you can see it completely fell off of a cliff. All energy was lost. Energy is returning. Bullish divergence returning. Still holding the pullback. So we'll see if we can get our way out of here. All right, let's jump into the chat. So I think those are the big takeaways today, right? The emails were released. Most people were not surprised by what they saw. The poll that I conducted here in the channel had over 800 respondents in a course of 5 minutes. And 87% of the respondents said that they were not surprised by what they saw. There was nothing shocking in there. So no new information was really brought that people thought was substantial at this point. We'll see if any of the sleuths or any of the lawyers uncover anything that maybe provides insight, because that's all I care about. I get it. We could chat all we want about it. We can have tea and gossip all we want about it and yell on Twitter for congressmen to do something, which they're not going to. I understand Warren Davidson put out a bill to fire Gary Gensler, but is Biden going to sign that? No, he's not going to sign that. Is the Democratic-controlled Senate going to vote for that? No. It is political posturing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a total like, hey, look at me. I'm a good guy. But it literally, he knows it's dead on arrival. So we need summer judgment. I don't know where I was going with that. I started ranting. But yeah. All right. I'm jumping in the chat. So what do we have? We've got you got the emails finally released, and they weren't as shocking as they were kind of sold to be. They were kind of in line with expectations. If somebody, okay, so now here's what they are, right? Okay, this is what you have to think of them, of the emails, and then I'll jump in the chat. This is stuff we've kind of already knew, right? It's stuff that had been uncovered. It was the perception. This is what it was. But at the same time, while we believed it, we had some evidence to go with it. Here is additional evidence to back it all up. Right? That was like, and that matters more than speculation. You can speculate all you want. You can kind of have a vague supporting documents, but here is the legit supporting documents that validated, right? And I think that's the thing that kind of came from the emails. All those speculations, all that puzzle pieces put together, all the things about Ethgate and about Bill Hinman working with Vitalik Buterin. Why did I forgot his name already? What's the dude? I just talked to him about him a minute ago. Guy who lives in Canada. He tried to be hip. He tried to wear the dumb hat, be like a hipster. Eth guy, Ethereum guy. Come on, somebody get it. Oh, why is the title 612? Good call. Dude, there's times I do that all the time. Sometimes the thumbnails will have the wrong thing. Mike Novogratz, thank you, Crypt Keeper. Why did Mike Novogratz know ahead of time? Right? Because Vitalik told him. They knew. So there was insiders who knew, because even Mike Novogratz can't keep his stupid mouth shut. I bet that within the next week we'll hear something from the SEC about Ethereum. Oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. Now there's the evidence. Yeah, Galaxy Digital. Okay, all right, we're jumping in chat. Right out the gates, Maddie B, member for 5 months. When Moon XRP? Let's see if we can get it today. That's first step. First step to say this is not our rejection wall. Could be fake breakout if we lose 51.8. But otherwise, this particular level no longer represents death, right? This doesn't represent that anymore. We have proven now it can be cleared. Question is, are we ready? XP Market, what is up, man? 10 right out the gates, 10 gifts of memberships. So if you guys have little emojis in there in the chat, thank you so much, XP Market, big supporter of the channel. Matt Bender says, happy emails release day. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you so much, Matt. Eric Martinson, my dude, gifts 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Eric. Whiskey 2 says, like the video. Sorry I've been tardy, and for future tardiness. Missed you guys. I hope you're doing well, Whiskey 2, man. Appreciate it. Man, we got 3,200 people in here. That is wild. Deja Vu 702 says, hey, BCB, what's the best place to buy precious metals? Thank you. I'll answer that quick. I always go to a website called findbullionprices.com, and I shop between different places. But, you can use like JM Bullion, APMEX, SD Bullion, Bold Precious Metals, Silver Gold Bull. Those ones are popular. Or your local coin shop. JB Heavy Equipment Services member Womonth says, good morning, everyone. I caught you on a Twitter Spaces this morning for a few minutes. Can't believe we've been waiting so long for these emails. Let's go. Yes, the emails are officially out. Question is, do they have any material impact? That's the big question. Thank you, JB. Luke Spielman says, my dude, my wife and I just had a baby girl this morning. Thanks, BCB. Love this fam. Please give a shout out to baby Rowan. Dude, what's up? Welcome to the world, baby Rowan. Man, I know that feeling all too well. First of all, congratulations on the baby. Rock and roll. New member of the BCB community, baby Rowan. And hello, Mom. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're chilling now and recovering. And the next 48 hours are usually the roughest, but temporary. I'm sure a lot of you guys know when you have a baby, man, when you're in that hospital for those first couple of days, the only thing you want to be is at home. It's so loud. The crying, yeah, it's okay. It's what babies do. But in a hospital room, you're just toughing it out. And the thing you got to remind yourself is, this too shall pass. In 48 hours, I will be home. And like a lot of times they'll take your baby away to the nursery so you can take a nap. Dude, when we had my son, they never took him away. He was in the room with us the whole time. I love my son, but those 2 days, whew. Ali Mackey, thank you so much, says BCB, the only man I wait on for content. Longtime supporter of the channel, and I like every video. Thanks for all you do for your community. God bless you and your family. Thank you, Ali. Dude, always liking every video. That's the #1 way to support the channel, guys. Super chats are great and all, and that stuff, and of course I appreciate that. But I always say it, man. If you can't do anything at all, if you don't even want to like type in there, you want us to be the lurker and just chill, and that's it, man. Hitting the like button is just the best thing you could do. I appreciate it. Blockfella says BCB La Cabra. By Gensler saying we don't need more digital currencies, ain't he admitting cryptos are not securities? Aren't semantics important in cases like this? It seems like a subconscious dilemma. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if him saying that in particular has much bearing. I think the bigger thing I take out of it, he's at a war. He wants, he's a power-hungry little man. Dude, does anybody know how tall Gary Gensler is? We talk about this all the time, right? 6'1" male who barbecues, chops wood, can throw a baseball like 1,000 feet. Most importantly, likes barbecue. Income level doesn't matter if you're 6'1" and can throw a baseball 1,000 feet. But Gary Gensler, I'm guaranteeing it, dude. He's 5'4". Guaranteeing it. You don't have dainty, wimpy little hands like that if you're not 5'4". He hates barbecue. He plays, I don't know what he plays. He doesn't play anything. What's the little thing where you like hit the feather thing? Badminton. He's like a badminton guy, but he's like even bad at it, but he's like real passionate about it. But 5'4" for sure. Google says 6'1". I don't believe that for half a second. Not a half a second. 5'4.5" max. All right, grumpy old man. Thank you, Blockfella. Grumpy old man says, "Hey BCB, Bill Hinman, what a massive whopper." Yeah, disappointed, huh? Looking for more, right? Think of it as supportive documentation for all of your speculation that you've had for years. That it has been validated. You were correct. Michael J. Love. What's up, beautiful people? Hey, BCB. I'm on my 3rd month. Much love. Thank you, Michael J. Love. Member. Appreciate it. Mr. Jace says, what is developer data growth decline for Solana? It's down. But we'll be curious, they didn't make an update for May. I actually DM'd them, Electric Capital, and I said, hey guys, what's up? And they gave me very long responses. They said something's coming in June. But as of last time checked, Solana is definitely declining. Let me see if I have it. I think I already have the Excel file open. Solana's... Okay, so from April 1st of 2021... No, this is wrong. April 1st of 2021 to April 1st of... Okay, again, wrong. From April 1st of 2022 to April 1st of 2023. right? So that's 1 year, April to April. Solana was down 12% of their developers, right? But another metric that can kind of be looked at is what Solana did from December through April. So while they were down 12% from April to April, if you look at them from actually December, so they must have had a little bit of growth, but then it just fell off again rapidly. The vast majority of their developer decline has really taken place from December to April, because they're actually down 16%. 18% from December through April. So unfortunately, I don't have data on all the different coins of like which ones decline the most. And one thing to keep in mind, right? Sorry, I just hit the mic. Because I've gone through a lot of this different data, I've watched them do talks on developer data. There is a natural fall off of developers in the cryptocurrency market at the beginning of the year. Something happens, like when they turns a new leaf and the new year starts, there's always this like decline. And we definitely see that broader throughout the crypto market. On top of that, like had capitulation, right, in June, and then, the FTX stuff that happens in November. You have just kind of a beat down market at the same time. So when you look at data and you're looking at January, February, March, and April, January, February, and March development data, we're naturally going to have a little bit of a decline happening in there. But the question is 18% fall off in Solana in line with other projects? Other coins or tokens or smart contracts or platforms. It's more than the average. I would say like the median was probably like a 6 or 7% decline in that time. So at 18, pretty big. Again, I've pointed to Algorand at negative 45% in that time from March, April, and May. January, February, and April. January, February, and March. Negative 45% for Algorand. So there was worries on Algorand pretty quick when that data came out. But 18%, and we don't have, and I'm like desperately wanting to get it, we don't have the data up till current. We only have through April 1st. So we've had 2.5 months since April 1st. Like the second that next set of data comes out, I think that's going to paint a pretty good picture of trend. Like who's growing, who's dying. I really, really want to see that. But it hasn't been released yet. They tell me it's coming, though. They tell me it's coming in June. I'll just check really quick to see if it has already. No. Oscar Hernandez, my dude, supporter of channel every day, even when he's out on a rig. Hey, what's going on? Hit the like button, BCB and XRP Army. Thank you, Oscar. Ritz, first time super chatter. No message, but thank you. Top agent, man, no message, but just drops a hundo. My gosh, man, thank you. Unreal. But no message, man. Well, thank you very much, top agent. Michael J. Love says he gifted one, but no message. Thank you very much, Michael. Again, top agent, man. Thank you. Thomas Campbell says, I know lowering rates is Doomtown, but has the Fed ever paused, then raised again before they lowered? Oh, that's a good question. Let's take a look at it. I don't think we've had that in the last 20 years. Federal funds rate. So, like, if we go all the way back to, like, we're at higher rates back here, right? So we're just kind of teetering around in here. But, like, let's say we're coming off of a fall, right? So we fall, and then we start a new hiking cycle. I mean, you can kind of look to this one that was 30 years ago and say, yeah, I mean, there's pause for quite a long time in here. You're looking here, no pausing, pause, cut great financial crisis, right? Then we look over here. You know, what do you call that? This is nothing. See, like if you look at this, it's still 0.07 to 0.14, so nothing significant. You could say to right here if you wanted. This is technically just a single time of a 0.25% interest rate hike. So the effective rate, let's take it off of log so you can see it. The effective rate is right here. They do a 0.25% interest rate hike in 2015-16, right? And then they stay there. And then they continue the hiking cycle. So they essentially did one 25 basis point rate hike and said, okay, that's enough. We're done. We don't want things to die. And then eventually it just went up. Let's see, did they kind of pause right here? They got to 1%. And they paused for 3 months and then continued. But never any type of hiking cycle of this magnitude that did. So, technically speaking, that would be okay. It's an entire misconception of thinking that cutting rates is good. And just our historical precedent set by the last 25 years, when we're doing rate cuts, it is to fend off a crisis. You know, this is the dot-com bubble burst. This is the great financial crisis. This is C19, right? These were not moments of, hey, we're starting to cut. It's time to go mega long on the market. No. Each time that was a run for the hills moment in time. However, like we've talked about here, pausing is fine and raising has been fine. So total misconception. Don't fight the Fed of, you know, don't buy the bottom because the Fed has to stop hiking. Literally, really think about it. Everybody who was saying, don't fight the Fed, you buy once the Fed pauses. Look where they're buying. That is what the don't fight the Fed crew is doing. They missed this, and now they're going to buy at the retracement level, is the don't fight the Fed stuff. So I go back and I live my life. I go back and look at my life and say, how many thousands of comments did I get screamed at about that during this time? I'm telling you, man, it's thousands. Thousands upon thousands. Don't fight the Fed. You don't know nothing. Dingus. And we said, we'll get back to the retracement levels. We'll hit the 702 and the Fed will pivot at that moment. And then retail will buy the retracement. Now the question is this Goblin Town game over? Or will the pivot give it the juice to get through? But either way, here we go. We're getting our pivot tomorrow. At least that's the way the market is pricing it in. They've now put it at a 97.6% probability that we are pivoting or pausing interest rate hikes tomorrow. 2.4% chance that there is a rate hike. So what have we done, everybody? We did like what we talked about all year. The Fed communicated at the end of last year that there would be 0.75% of interest rate hikes in 2023. We've had 3 separate 25 basis point rate hikes. And they are in line with what they said, and that it would be time for pause now, and the market has completely priced it in. Like the market has fully priced in a Fed pause. That's amazing. There we go. We did catch it. There's a little 5-minute cross. That downward momentum has cooled itself off. So to answer your question, you said, Thomas, and thank you for your support, Thomas. You said, I know lowering rates is doomtown, but has the Fed ever paused, then raised again before, then lowered? So I hope that kind of showed you the examples of, there you have it. I guess you could even say in this hiking cycle right here, they were actually doing that a lot, huh? The only thing is they were just like, these are so small in the first place, right? But yeah, I guess technically you could say they have. These are little like 1 month pauses, huh? 2-month pause. You got a 1-month pause, a 1-month pause, a 4-month pause, then the real pause, and the cut. So what do we see here? There was never any cuts except for way back here. Is this even a cut? That's not even a cut, right? 0.14 to 0.12. That's just market volatility. That's not a cut either. So they never did any cuts. But once the first cut happened, the rest followed suit. Let's go over here. Once the first cut happened, it was all game over, right? So you're looking back. Here's your first cut, August of 2007. Let's go look at the Dow. Here you go. This is their first cut. For great financial crisis. So what probably happened? Market probably went YOLO. Hey, we're cutting. Yay. Oh, no. So what we see in both examples, we don't see a pause and continue to hike here. But we do see that once one cut started, it set off a snowball effect of continued cutting. We see that same thing occurring here. First cut in August of 2019 that then led to it really going. What about over here? We're going back to the 1990s. Different story, right? There were these cuts here. So we go from 6 to 5. So we did about 3/4 of a point worth of cuts here. And then we cut more to 4.6. So about 1.5 points worth of cuts, then raises, then falls off of a cliff. So if we go back and just talk about the 2000s, the last 23 years, a cut meant continued cuts. A pause did not necessarily mean pause. But, where are we at right now? I think the golden rule of what they talk about is that the federal funds rate needs, in order to battle inflation, has to be higher than the inflationary rate, right? And so right now we just saw that we see that the federal funds rate above 5%. And what is inflation at? 4, right? And so you probably see a lot out there. You see the true inflation rate. And so that's actually closer to that 3 number because we already know that 4% that we see there is not exactly entirely accurate because it still contains this one reading in there of 1.3% from 11 months ago. If that reading wasn't in there, this thing would be closer to a 3. And if we actually end up getting a month-over-month reading similar to what we had this month, where if we get a 0.1% or if we get a 0.2%, then next month, there's a chance this number has a 2 in front of it. We could have a 2.9 or a 2.8. And that would be pretty much something. All right, moving on. House is high. Tree sorts. Thank you so much. Just a super sticker and support. Thank you. Ritz. Hey, BCB, are your XRP targets still 7 to 13? You better believe it. Yep. Nothing changes. Stephen McGibbon. Hey, BCB, happy lunchtime from sunny Edinburgh. Thanks for all you do. Looking forward to the course and merch. BCB Edinburgh. I'm probably pronouncing that right. Edinburgh. Recently doubled its membership to 2, and it's going strong. Have you ever visited? No, let me type it into Google. The capital of Scotland. Let me see how to pronounce it so I don't sound like a jerk.
City in Scotland.
Oh, come on. You don't need a 4-minute video to explain how to pronounce that. Oh my gosh. Normally on Google when you type the short Edinburgh and longer Edinburgh. Edinburgh. How about that? Edinburgh? We good? I haven't, but it would be nice. Deldova says, what makes this break of the 786 any different? Nothing. Nothing. They're all just retracements, right? And, you know, you get through this one, and if we do start firing up to here, what becomes the next concern? Well, your next ones. Right? Then you've got your whole new set. You get through those, what becomes your next one? Your bigger set. Right? So it is merely just working your way up through the wall of worry and through all the pain. So of our current trading range and our current fall, that was our first one. Right? Then your next one, you've got all these, right? And then your next one, you got more. And it keeps going until you get to all-time highs. And what happens in all-time highs? What happens every single time? Everybody buys because they see no resistance over here. They wait till all-time high and they FOMO in because there's nothing left over there. So we'll see how this closes too. If we look at how the closes have been at this range as well, I think it would just be nice that we just haven't been able to close there, right? We haven't been able to close above it. Here we were, it was a little while earlier this morning when these emails came out. We were up above it, but still just holding below. But that is it would be the highest close that we've had in a year. But thank you, Della Dova. Oscar Hernandez says, Lulu Army, eat their steaks. Well done. Oh, burn. The ultimate burn of a community. XRP John, thank you very much, man. No message, but just thanks for the support. Pitbull says, bro, fake hype for the emails. All market at 7:02. I guess tomorrow there'll be no pause and the market will be wrong-footed big time. Regards. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? I was one of the people, like, on my channel said, like, and which I never saw over Twitter, that, you know, the emails are just kind of a gossip piece, right? And I think that's kind of what they are. Lewis Jackson says retracement levels are broke. You're a goat in this space. Well, Lewis, thank you. That was a very generous super chat. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, well, we got through. This is why I say people don't want to be day traders. Everybody wants to be a day trader. You don't want to be a day trader. Statistical odds and probabilities, and it's about what percentage of the time do things play out and what do you make your risk to reward ratio on it. So anybody who longed the top of this, on the breakout, stops got to be down here. Like, that's just the trade. But the target is a 18x or a 18 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which you can see right here. Thing is, what if it only plays out 50% of the time? Is that a good trade to take? Any professional trader would tell you they would take that trade 100 bajillion times all day, every day, if it works 50% of the time with an 18 to 1 risk to reward ratio. But that's the reality of these things, is, you know, that you're not going to have 100%, but you satisfy your risk to reward ratio on them to where you don't have to get 100%. You can sometimes in a trade like this, you could get it right only 25% of the time. It could have a 75% failure rate and still be worth it. I would say, you know, definitely like, oh, geez, like that's would have been nice if we were pulling back down here and this was more of like a, hey, we break out and then we're just kind of gradually working our way and let's go on. That's pretty aggressive to pull back on. And, you know, pretty high volume to pull back on. who is a seller, right? The seller is not XRP community members, right? The seller is not holders. They're not selling that. Who's selling it? Somebody is. Somebody planned to sell there, because that's a lot of selling that took place right there. So all eyes to see if it can continue holding this. If not, the picture is going to get pretty sloppy. That it holds above like 51.5. Otherwise, looking like a fake break. But like we showed over here, you can have slop. Oh, come on. You can have slop, but for my rules, like everybody, if you're a trader, which I don't like to actively day trade, but if I'm taking trades, my rules are, if we're going to get that break, having a particular place you're going to set a stop and say it has failed at. We could see these things can do this, but not so aggressive as what we're seeing right now. That's pretty aggressive to pull back on. So we'll see if that continues. It's an aggressive pushback for some reason, and I think like we saw in the chat, 87% of people were not surprised with what they saw. It was totally hyped to be shocking. It was hyped to be mind-blowing. 87% of people said no, they were not surprised by what they saw. So this is where Jeremy Hogan needs to come out of his retirement, and Jeremy Hogan needs to explain all of this to us like we're four, and tell us why we should be surprised and why we should be shocked. Gary Gensler. I always love it when Gary comes in here. Gary, you're not even a member. You're not the real Gary, because I do have Gary who is a member. That's a fake Gary. The real Gary Gensler is a member here. Edit Undo says, hey, BCB, you are a genuine hero, but what 3 famous people would you invite to a dinner party? Swifty is barred. Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. I don't know. I mean, that's an obvious. It's number 1. 3 famous people. I don't know how to answer that. Like, I don't know. Like, famous people? Like, who's cool? I mean, it probably need to be musicians. Like, who cares about actors? I know, like, probably a bajillion people would choose Elon Musk. But, I mean, whatever. I see him on Twitter all the time. I don't need to eat dinner with him. I don't know. I'll think about it. Jesus is not a celebrity. Gator says, pick me. All right, I'll think about it. Edit. I don't know, man. I can't come up with that one on the spot. Baby Oscar Hernandez says, hola, amigos. Have you seen my dodo? Me milky thirsty. I always love it, Oscar Hernandez. Baby Oscar Hernandez. Yeah, Jesus Christ. He's the star of the whole show. You would invite Homer Simpson. Okay, so I would too. If Homer Simpson was a true guy, I would too. Yeah, it'd be Taylor Swift all day. But, you'd have to be careful, man. If you watched her music video, Anti-Hero, talks about, man, anytime she goes out to eat with friends and stuff like that, she's just too big. It takes up too much attention. Everybody's like, the center of attention's around me, and I just want to be normal. It's like, it's okay, Tay-Tay. It's okay. You can be normal at our dinner. Okay. All right. Well, here we are. How long are we into this? We're about an hour and 15 minutes into this. Stock market, what are you doing? You're up 138 points. We're going to go ahead and start getting this thing wrapped up so I can at least start digging into Twitter because, like many of you, these emails came out. I had gone to the gym. I get home. I turn the shower on. I'm getting ready to hop in the shower. Someone text messages me, says emails are out. I see emails, I check prices pop, Twitter Spaces live, I turn off the shower, and I'm all sweaty, and I hop into the Twitter Spaces and chat on there. Then I take my shower, and I come in here, and we get ready to go live and all that stuff. I haven't had a chance to read through all these emails, so I'm going to go try to start reading through them and searching through them to see if I can find anything of more substance than what Stuart Alderati highlighted. I think most of the community is in no way surprised by what we saw in there. These are all the things we had already speculated to have seen. Now, maybe the rest of the world will find that interesting. The rest of the cryptocurrency market who have thought of us as grand conspiracy people, like Mr. Charles Hoskinson, will find that to be of interest. Otherwise, for us in the XRP community, I very clear by the poll that was run in here, 87% of people found nothing surprising about what was in those emails at this point. But again, there's thousands of pages, lots of stuff to comb over. I'm sure even just in the last hour and a half that I've been live streaming, something new has come out in that. So where we are today is that tomorrow, not tomorrow morning, but tomorrow. Down to 93.1% probability. 93% chance the Fed has paused coming off of inflation data that makes it blatantly obvious inflation has cooled off when you're registering these 0.1s. So do you know what a 0.1% is annualized? It's 1.2% inflation, right? So obvious that next month when the inflation data comes out, we're going to be either in the low 3s or in the high 2s of the year-over-year CPI. So market recognizes that now with everything going on with XRP, if we can regain that 54.5 cent level to have a daily close above the highest daily close we have, we obviously get a quick pop up there off of those email newses, right? Maybe some short squeezing happening in there. Whether we can sustain ourselves in here. If we start losing this right in here, it looks like nothing more than just a email pump, right? Email hype pump. Otherwise, we're still just chilling. But hold these levels down in here, and then we can start looking more like what our last one was. And so this was when we hit our 200-day moving average back in here. If I hit this, it's going to be weekly. Anyway, this is a 200-day moving average coming in here. And then we go. That is also what we've had happening in here, as we know. 200-day moving average was our catcher. And then now, can we get our way out? Optimistic sign to at least see the 786 could get cracked. Now we need to really get going. Little dicey that we get back below it so quickly. So keep an eye on it throughout today. Hopefully no breaks down there below 51.8, and we just kind of keep bouncing around in here, holding the supports in here. Otherwise, stock market way up. I don't know if you call it way up, but up. Big thing for the NASDAQ. Look where you are, 0.786 or 0.702 Fibonacci retracement level as the Fed is going to pause tomorrow. Congrats to the Don't Fight the Fed crowd. Congrats to you guys. That's sarcasm. And I wouldn't care if these guys weren't such jerks to me all the time. These guys who are just like fly-by-night pros at everything they do. Don't fight the Fed. Okay. If you fought the Fed, you won. Just saying. Dollar has been down. Gold struggling. Again, this is one of these things we've dived into big time. You want to see gold crash and crumble. Please, we want that. For those who believe in a different narrative, otherwise I suggest you watch videos I've put out on that. But otherwise it's holding. Now this is a big test, the big moment in time for the United States stock market as it's back at the retracement levels for both the DXY and over here for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, as the Fed is going to pause tomorrow. There's never been higher statistical probability of the Fed pausing than we have tomorrow. It's the highest. So prepare for that tomorrow. XRP, we'll see if we can hold these support levels and just chill out here and get our way back up there. Super optimistic to see the 786 be able to get cleared in that moment. We have just done significant damage to the 786 retracement level. That for me is super optimistic because, man, it's just like this stuff. When you see this, that's where you get pretty nervous of these dang things. To see at least be able to crack through it, it means it's not the big wall that it once was. It's not of as importance anymore. Not really something for me where I'm looking at it thinking, oh no, the 786 is there. Not anymore. We've proven we can crush it. So that makes me excited. But I really would like to kind of see this calm down. Get such a quick fire and then such a quick fire back, just kind of calm down and then march that way back up. Otherwise, this is awesome thing to see. Now we just wait for summary judgment. So I know John Deaton is going to be doing a big live stream tomorrow. Is that tomorrow or is that today? I'd like to give him props. Yeah, where are the riddlers coming out saying, see, what were the odds? June 13th. I showed you a gold button, and we counted to a 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, which means 6/13/2023. Right? 1 + 2 + 3 equals 6. And then 3, 2, 1, right? 1, 3 is the date. The year 2023, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3 plus each other equals 6. They told us all along. We were too dumb to notice. Okay, I'm moving on. I hope that you guys have a great day. I'm going to go read about what these emails and see what they have to say. I hope that you all are doing well. Optimistic things out there to see the 786 get cracked. Emails, give or take. We'll see if there was any real substance to it. We'll see what John Deaton has to say. We'll see what the lawyers have to say. CPI comes in better than expected. Get ready. It looks like the Fed's going to pause tomorrow, guys, as the stock market indexes are back at their 702s. So is it the ultimate wrong footing of retail investors, or is this what it's going to take to get through the retracement levels? Tune in tomorrow to find out. Otherwise, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank you so much for watching. Oh, wait. Got to take care of this dude. Oscar, my man, says smash the like blockchain community. 1609 with 2,300 people in here. Let's see if we can get to 17 by the time I finish my outro. That's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one. And I'll give you one little Homer Simpson to get me over the finish line of 1,700. $1,700? Did that earn it? Did that earn it? Hey, a little shading. We're close. $1,700. Got it. That's it. Have a good one, everybody.